coconuts safely in seconds, no matter your size or strength. We launched about 5 years ago. I guess who loved me? Whatever, I can talk about almost anything, but I think I was asked to speak a little about my story and how I got here, what we're doing. So my background is as an orchestra conductor. I was actually a prodigy classical musician. I look like a redneck now, but actually I grew up in Manhattan and did prep school and was a classical music prodigy, and started my own orchestra when I was about 19, so I always had sort of an entrepreneurial edge to me. Wasn't satisfied with the options as a classical musician, so I created my own. Burned out after 5 years from just really pushing really hard in that. But being classical music, I actually taught myself all of free market economics, or intuited it by being in the classical music world, which is kind of the opposite. And people were really unhappy, they weren't making money, the concerts were really boring, and there was no innovation, it was really stagnant, and I tried to figure out why that was. And eventually I sort of saw how the financial incentive structure kind of worked against progress in that model. Several years later, I started studying business and economics myself, and I saw everything sort of makes sense. That's in alignment with what I had seen being in that world. So I got burned out, moved to California from New York, tried to get my health back together. Spent a year in flight school becoming a private pilot, just in Colorado, getting to know sort of middle America, which was a foreign country to me as a New Yorker. And came back to New York after I got pretty unhealthy being out there, and became a raw food vegan for several years, which was an attempt to get my health back. I lost about 100 pounds of body weight. Doing that really just changed my life from a health point of view. And I was opening a lot of coconuts. Coconuts were a staple of that diet, and I was throwing a cleaver like in a video in my hand several times a day, risking my future classical music career. And I thought, there's got to be a better way to do this, because one of these days, this could end really badly. I had lots of friends who were cellists and flutists who said, Dave, I love these coconuts, but there's no way I'm going to risk my career over a coconut, right? So I had an idea in my head for how to make the thing that would make it work. Didn't do anything with it for years. And in 2012, I sold my apartment in New York City. I bought 4 RVs so I could live full-time on the road. So I put 1 in New York, 2 in Austin, and 1 out in LA, so I could fly back and forth and have a house everywhere. When I got down to Austin, I met a blacksmith, and I said, let's make one thing, let's see how it goes. So he built me a prototype. It didn't work at all. At many points along the way, I hit lots of roadblocks, and I could have just sort of said, oh well, I guess this doesn't work. But I kind of would sit for a bit and, put it down, and all of a sudden an idea would come, take a different direction, and then different direction. And what happened actually was the simpler we made it, the better it worked, which is there's some kind of life lesson in there, which I wanted to be very complicated because I wanted there to be lots of engineering involved, but actually the simpler it got, the better it worked. So it was a fun process, and part of my goals in doing this were I promised myself I would have fun every day and learn something every day, because I didn't know if it would work. I had sold my apartment, I did very well in the sales, so I had some extra money to play with, and I had no idea if this would turn into anything. So I said, even if I waste all this money and nothing works, at least I'll learn something and have fun every day. And I don't really have fun much anymore, but I still do learn something almost every day. And that's, sorry, I didn't mean to be so morbid, but for me, I enjoy the process of being ignorant. I didn't know anything. I taught myself everything from scratch. I have a classical music background, but I don't have an MBA. And I taught myself, accounting, to import-export, to taxation laws, to IP protection, to branding, marketing, to everything about business, just by kind of going step by step and doing what was in front of me, and talk to lots of people. For manufacturing, I taught myself all of it. I know more about metallurgy than I really wish I did, just from talking to dozens and dozens of manufacturers mostly around the country. And every expert has their field of expertise, and you listen to them. I should take the tool around to trade shows before I could tell people what it was, because the patent was still pending. I'd hand this thing to some manufacturer guy and he'd say, well, what is this thing? I'm like, well, I can't tell you. He said, okay, does it make hamburgers? I'm like, no. But they were trying to guess and they couldn't figure it out. And they would say, okay, well, there's one way to make this, and it's X, Y, Z. And I said, okay, thanks for that. And I go to the next guy. And I give it to him, he said, what is this thing? And I said, I can't tell you. He said, does it make hamburgers? I'm like, no. Well, there's only one way to make this thing, and it's, B, C, and D. And they talk to the next guy, it's the same thing, does it make hamburgers? And one way to make this, and it's E, F, G, and everyone has their own opinion, and so as an entrepreneur, it's very much like being an orchestra conductor. You don't actually do anything, but you kind of make sure all the people you're working with are doing things properly, you balance things, you give someone extra attention if there's a problem, and then you kind of back off and kind of process all the information and organize it. And really, orchestra conducting is
it's not transferable to really anything else in the world but being an entrepreneur and being a CEO. So that was a surprising life lesson. So yeah, I developed the tools for about a year, and then we launched in December of 2013. Was our first online launch. We sold out for Christmas in 5 days, and we've been really sold out ever since. Our first year, this wasn't the slide, was up there. Is there a button I can? We can get back to this later. But in there, I'll get you. Okay, this is fine. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, show the pictures of the happy people with their coconuts. I don't know if that's of this day. There you go, perfect. Yeah, so our propaganda marketing. So yeah, these are people from, since we launched, the tools were incredibly popular. I thought my market was really, 10,000 hippies in Venice Beach who opened coconuts for their smoothies, and I'd have fun for half a year, be done with it. But when I created the tools, I learned I should market test them before I actually went to production. So I talked to a bunch of these hippies. I said, "Would you buy this?" They said, "Yes." I said, "What's the most you would pay for it?" And they said, 65, 70 bucks. "What would you expect to pay for it?" They said, "About 40 bucks." And then, what's a good deal? And they would say about 20 bucks. And that was about the average numbers I got. And so when I went to my manufacturers, I made sure that I could actually hit numbers, make a quarter of that, or at least make it for less than that, to know that it was viable, and it was. And so talking to these folks, I realized that it wasn't just the hippies in Venice Beach. They were like, "Dave, you don't understand, everybody loves coconuts. It's not just the raw foodies and the vegans and the hippies. People eat coconuts all over the world." And I was like, "Oh, you're right." And actually today, most of our customers by far are Asian Americans, by far. All these coconuts come from Thailand, Vietnam, all throughout Southeast Asia, North Asia as well. So that was a big surprise, because we targeted the yoga people and the vegan people, the health food people. I also had a photographer who was very keen. She was like, "I want to invest in this. This is the best thing ever." And because I do paleo, and that's all we eat is coconuts and paleo. And I didn't eat paleo. She was like, "Oh, really?" So paleo, keto, Atkins, all these folks who eat sort of any kind of sort of health food regime, coconuts are a staple. Coconut oil, coconut flour as well, but coconuts are a staple. We sold to elite athletes, marathon runners, professional boxers. Brendan Gracie, who's a mixed martial art celebrity, one of our customers. I can say that publicly. I've been shocked at how diverse our market is. We've sold in over 60 countries without marketing to almost any of them. We really do our marketing here. It includes Kazakhstan, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Switzerland, Sweden, a lot to Sweden, and the distributor Czech Republic. You don't think of these as being real big coconut hotspots. They're not very tropical, but we sold there. We sold to Alaska, North Dakota, all throughout Canada. So I've stopped doubting how big our market is, because I can't believe the order we sold. So our first year, we were just selling like crazy online. And the issue encountered before I launched, I walked into Wells Fargo and I said, "Hey, I've got this product. It's going to blow up. I know it. Can you fund us for inventory? Because we need to be able to keep up with the inventory so we can grow." And I said, "Yep, we're a bank. We lend money. That's what we do." I'm like, "Okay, great. Check that off my list." And as soon as we started selling, I went back to Wells Fargo and I said, "Okay, great. We're selling like crazy. Start writing some checks." And they said, "Oh, well, wait a second. Call us when you're 2 years old. We can't lend to you unless if you're less than 2 years old. And we need to have $3 million a year revenue before we can lend to you. Oh, and also you have to be profitable, and you have to have this EBITDA." And I was like, "Wait a second, where's the money to make this stuff?" And they said, "Well, if you have a purchase order from Walmart or Target, we can fund that, probably. But if you're selling online, we can't fund that." And this has been kind of the story of our company from day one. What's been shocking is that we're constantly sold out. We have well over about $3.25 million in sales just off our website, word of mouth, Facebook ads, great for us, and some smaller orders. We've turned down Whole Foods many times. We've turned down hundreds of international retailers asking for wholesale because we're never in inventory, because there's not any inventory financing model. Until the past 6 months, there are some now that will finance sales unless you have a purchase order from a big box store. And to me, that was the biggest shock when I launched the company. I thought I had everything kind of in place, and then we're selling like crazy, and then now we're sold out for 3 months, or we're sold out for 2 months, or we're constantly can't make them fast enough. And that's really been our significant challenge. So after 6 months, we were going so quickly, and there was some financing available. Again, 2 years is kind of where they start getting easier to finance things. If you're less than 2 years old, it's almost impossible to get any significant financing. which is kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, of course. If you can't get financing in your first 2 years, you're more likely to fail. The lending environment is just horrible, and that was my biggest shock when I launched the company. We did take on some debt. It's very expensive debt. We took on many times, about 2 or 3 times a loan for $8,000, which isn't very much for us, but it was 36% interest over 6 months. So that's 72% APR, and we took that on multiple times because that's all that there was. We've had loans at 20% interest term rates with 50% initiation fee, just brutal terms, that make it very, very hard to grow from a cash flow point of view. Anyway, the debt market is really what's been holding us back since we started. After 6 months, though, I still had some money in the bank. We were growing. I was like, don't worry about this. Just power through, and we'll get there. And after 6 months, I knew we had to go to China because we couldn't make them fast enough here. They can't really scale here as well. We made them in the U.S. And scale was an issue, and the quality is actually better in China. We found out because it was so expensive to manufacture here. We had to cut some corners a little bit, not make everything as beautiful as we wanted to. But in China, they actually could. So eventually, in China, quality was actually better, which was surprising. Although we are considering bringing it back here now because of robotics has come so far in the past 2 years that it's actually viable to manufacture in the U.S. again, which is we're exploring. So anyway, we're going to China. I was terrified of going to China. Didn't want to do it. Heard all the horror stories. So I hired a sourcing agent to manage it for me. They've been doing it for 20 years. They guaranteed the IP, and they guaranteed that if the quality was not good, they would replace it. So I'm like, okay, that's pretty good, So we placed the order. The lead times were supposed to be 2 months. It turned into 1 month. It turned into 2 months. They sent us a partial shipment, and they all broke immediately. And I was like, well, okay, you guaranteed the quality, so send us replacements. They said, okay, we'll send replacements. But it took 3 months to send replacements. They sent some more replacements. They all broke immediately. And I said, okay, do change this and this, send us replacements. Same thing happened again. And so it took about 9 months to get that order clear. So our lead times went from 1 month to 9 months at that stage. So we were still, young and strong and vital. So we powered through. We had American manufacturers who were filling in the gaps, but our margins went down from 75% to 10% because the pricing was so much more expensive. And even we used to sell wholesale at a loss just to keep the orders flowing, so we make sure we weren't just shutting down and hiding. So that was really painful. That was our first issue with those guys. After that first order, they kind of got it right. The next order was fine, and then the next order, the same thing happened again. The finish was not proper. They didn't send us enough. We had paid for, I think, 17,000 units. They sent us 5,000 units, and it was 7,000 mallets. They didn't send any mallets. And so that's delayed our cycle time, our cash flow time, and of course, getting finance to kind of work around that was always hard from the beginning, but that made it even harder. So we had back-end manufacturers, but we wound up paying double, putting double the deposits down and losing, $50,000 or $250,000 of inventory to these guys, which we had to double pay for later, just to get them moving. So the story, it's the frustration of this is unbelievable. The story is just having, thousands. Today we've got 3,000 back orders. We've been constantly back orders since we've launched. And so now we're really hiding from our customers. There's still demand. We did around $1 million in sales in the past 2 years, based without having any inventory, just word of mouth, no marketing, and it's frustrating. It's very, very frustrating. So we started a capital raise a couple of years ago to try to get around that. That's its own challenge. I never expected to have to do a formal capital raise because I thought we had everything. It should have been done in my mind for debt because it's rolling for inventory. We didn't need a whole lot of capital expenditures. So that was a big, big frustration. So looking around for capital has been an interesting journey as well. Most people want to do tech, and most people they don't want to do what we do, and they want to do stuff where you've got the VCs. Usually, you should have $5 million in sales or more for them to be interested in what you're doing. And if we were a big box, that would be a problem. The pop tool is very popular. If it was not in a big box, we're just selling online. Even though our numbers are extremely impressive online, that model hasn't quite caught up with most of the VC groups. Their LPs are very kind of strict about what they can and can't invest in. It's almost like going for a bank loan or a mortgage. You just check all the boxes, and if you don't check the boxes, they have so many deals they just have to pass. So it's been sort of working networks, developing my network to kind of find one-off, two-off investors who can basically do what Wells Fargo should do, but doesn't. So it's been an interesting process for that. We could have just thrown in the towel a couple of years ago, but the market is colossal for this. I'll give you one of the slides. The market is colossal. I know most people love the products, and so I haven't been interested in saying, oh, well, screw it. Part of the thing, just on a happier note, our advisors are amazing. The guys who did branding, Sean Jarvis from Kimball Jarvis, they did Guinness Beer, Trident Gum, and Speed Stick at Nordstrom. We've attracted a fantastic team of players, including Sean. And Sean mentored me on branding. And our goal from the beginning was not just to be a gizmo, a kind of flashbang, national TV, that's cute for 3 months and done. But for people with coconuts, this isn't a gimmick. This is it's like inventing a can opener. If you were a cowboy eating canned goods all day with a knife, and someone came along with a can opener, you'd be like, oh my God, this has changed my life. And people say it all the time, I've been waiting for this my whole life, as to level, I love my Coco Jack. But we have much bigger plans than that. Because our brand is so strong, we can spread throughout the entire coconut market, coconut flour, coconut sugar, and so the Coco Jack itself is a durable good. It'll last for years, but these you buy every day. So from a business point of view every week, this is a recurring revenue model to balance out the durable goods models. It's a very, very strong complementary model. And with the brand development, you can go into cosmetics, CBD oil, mixers, spirits, almost anything, quinoa, superfoods, once you establish a brand. So our goal over the long term is to anchor the company's brand with tools which people love. You see in the video how experiential they are, how fun they are, and then develop a whole bunch of side products to kind of continue the brand development over time. And my guess is these are actually going to overtake the main tools themselves from a sales point of view. So we also want to expand. We crush in e-commerce. Our e-commerce model is amazing. We do 3 to 22x returns on our Facebook ads, depending on if we're running a sale or not, or if we're retargeting or not. 18-22x return on Google AdWords, 0.001 cent per video view. So it's basically free advertising. So when we want to expand that internationally, where all the coconuts are, when they blow up our marketing and the content marketing about it. So we have great expansion plans online. We have a distributor for big box retail, but we don't even have enough units to send samples to places like Walmart or Target. So we need to have a little bit of funding to get the inventory to seed the big box expansion. And then the financing becomes much easier. So that's kind of where we are now. We've got tons of growth opportunities right in front of us, but until we get the capital raise, clear our back doors, we're sort of treading water and sort of staying on our hands for a bit. So in a way, we'll probably do a bit of a relaunch once the financing is done, because we really want to put ourselves out there. Having thousands of back orders for many months in many cases, it frustrates our customers, it frustrates us, and it's the opportunity costs have been in the tens of millions for us from being defrauded by our suppliers and having the banking issue. So that's where we are right now. It's an interesting story. We've had a very exciting run, and there's a whole lot more we can do, but right now, everything's on pause until we can get this raised. With that, stop.
That is a great story. Thank you.
Good, thanks.